Well, sir, we marched 86 miles to get here. It took us 5 days. We got here today at noon, left Monday morning around 9 o'clock.
Where are you from?
From VMI, sir.
You marched just the course they took?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right up Route 11.
Yeah, they took Route 11 the whole way, the 86 miles from Virginia Military Institute here to the battlefield. Originally, they were just going to Staunton, which is only about 40 miles. Once they got there, they met up with General Breckinridge, and he, of course, continued up to here, and they followed suit.
Wow. And a total of how many miles?
86, sir.
And this is what you got to show for that.
Yes, sir. He actually took the worst of it.
And these are the shoes you're wearing the whole way. Leather with maybe some cotton or wool socks.
Good gravy.
Nice heel plates on the bottom.
So in this kind of shape, the boys had to take the field.
Yes, sir. Yes. Actually, the field right on the other side of this orchard here is called the Field of Lost Shoes. This is where the cadets made their final charge, where they actually drove away the federal line. And the reason it's called a Field of Lost Shoes is because it was a giant mud boulder in the battle, and it was sucking the shoes right off the cadets' feet.
Yeah. The battle took place during a thunderstorm. The field was freshly plowed for planting, so it was all just a big mud bowl. And when they ran through it, the shoes just came right off. Quite a few of them.
257 cadets made the charge, and it's the only time in American history where a student body has fought in a full-pitched battle. So VMI is the only school that's ever done that.
It's the reason why we're allowed to wear red on our uniforms, and also allowed to fix bayonets during a parade. The only other people that can do that are the Army, the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force. Not the academies, but the actual branches.
Wow, so you are students there?
Yes, sir. We're all sophomores, upcoming juniors.
So you would literally have been here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
On May the 15th, 1864?
In fact, today, which is May 15th, we got here after doing 8 miles, the last 8 miles, and got right in front of that museum there, marched all the way up here, dropped our gear, went over to the fence line on the other side of the orchard, and we fired 2 volleys like the cadets did, and then tore off across the field. The entire time, they had federal artillery up there shooting at us. It was probably the coolest thing we could have asked for.
Sure.
Wow.
This guy carried our flag the whole way.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to march back, do you?
No, sir.
Yes.
I don't think we could handle it.
These uniforms you see us wearing are actually authentic to what they would have wore at the time. This is what you call broadcloth. It's a thick woven wool. And these jackets we had reproduced after originals that we have at our museum there, and I've handled them myself. It's just a spitting image. It's exactly what they were like. The only difference is we've got Virginia State buttons on here instead of cadet buttons, because the original cadet buttons were having some difficulty getting reproduced at a decent price. Yes, sir.
The cadet jackets that we have in the museum, we actually went down and looked at them, and they still have mud on them from the actual battle.
Yeah.
And one of them even has a blood stain from where a cadet got shot in the jaw.
Now, where did Thomas Garland Jefferson fall?
He was mortally wounded, and actually a really interesting story. He was mortally wounded, and he crawled across the battlefield into a barn. Now, one of his best friends was Cadet Moses Ezekiel, and after the battle was over, they did a roll call, and when Moses Ezekiel saw that Cadet Jefferson didn't actually respond, he went out looking for him, and he found him inside of a barn, and he picked him up and took him inside of a home in Newmarket. And at that point, Cadet Jefferson was slowly dying, and what's really cool about that is that Cadet Jefferson asked Moses Ezekiel to read from the New Testament for him until he died. But Moses Ezekiel was the very first Jewish cadet at VMI, but he didn't care, and he still read from the New Testament until Cadet Jefferson died in his arms. And then Moses Ezekiel then went on to become a world-renowned sculptor, and he sculpted many different pieces, and now one of his most famous pieces, Lady Virginia Mourning Her Dead, is now at VMI, and it is actually in front of where Cadet Jefferson is buried with the other Newmarket cadets.
That's a beautiful piece. I got in line with the 5th Virginia one year. We were going behind the Bashong house, and I got thumped right in the chest by a Yankee fire. And I went, ow! And I've actually taken a hit behind that house in the battle.
It's something else. I mean, actually, one of the cadets was actually killed outright over by that little barn right over there. He, I think it was Hartsfield? Yeah, I think Hartsfield. Yeah. Hartsfield was the one. Private Hartsfield took his hit right there, killed him outright. Another 2 were killed in the orchard. One was killed.
3 were killed out there.
Yeah. Well, the very first cadet casualty, if you go down to where the 7-Eleven is at the end of the the long drive here and look up that hill. That's where the cadets actually just sat and waited for
way down there.
Way down there. I mean, they were on top of that hill called Shirley's Hill, and they waited for the orders to go in. And while they were waiting there, a shell came in and struck. What was his name?
He was Corporal Atwell was one of them.
Yeah, Corporal Atwell.
Well, it was no. Who was it? First casualty was the guy hit his rifle.
Yeah.
Oh, Cadet Reed.
Cadet Reed. Shell came in, hit his rifle right here, and shot shrapnel and whatnot into his jaw, into his shoulder, and everything like that. His rifle is actually in the Hall of Valor right now. It's still, it's bent. You can tell it got hit by a ball.
90-degree bend.
And
Who's the cadet that got shot like 8 times? And still
Cadet Gibson made it all the way up to the fence line. After they fired the 2 volleys, he crossed the fence and was hit simultaneously 8 times. And still made the charge.
He still made it up the top.
Whoa!
Still made the charge. Colonel Colonel Scott Shipp, he made it over the fence. I was getting ready to lead the cadets up, and he got hit in the arm. He ended up losing an arm.
Yeah.
But they actually suffered 6 dead outright. 1 died later, Jefferson, and then 45 wounded. And that they plugged up the hole in the Confederate line, which is right in the middle. I mean, the 2 flanks were taking enfilade fire from all angles, and the cadets came up, and they said, the Federals wrote in their diaries and journals and letters home that it looked like, they were on dress parade. It was, they had shot and shell coming in from everywhere, and it looked like they were on dress parade. It was the most impressive sight they had ever seen in their entire lives.
When the cadets actually got to the orchard, the 2 units to the left and the right of the cadets both actually fell back during the battle, but the cadets kept stayed where they were, and they kept firing at the Union artillery until they made the charge.
Oh, what are your names?
I'm Cadet Michael Herron.
I'm Cadet Aaron Kreger.
I'm Cadet Hank Baker.
And you're actually from VMI, and you actually made the march. That is so cool.
Another thing you might find interesting about our uniforms here is myself and Cadet Herron are wearing these broadcloth trousers. That we made these based on photographs and accounts of what the uniforms they wore at the battle.
Oh,
We
made these?
We made these, yes sir. But the way we made them is we took the what we call woolies, the trousers we wear in the winter. When they're unserviceable, the QMD throws them away. We collect them, we strip them apart, and we use the wool from those trousers to make these.
We still wear the same kind of uniforms they wore back then.
It's cut a little bit differently, and it's got a zipper instead of buttons like these do. But it's the same material. I believe it's even supplied by the same company.
Wow.
In fact, our uniforms haven't really changed in the past 100 years. So I mean, and barracks, even though it was destroyed in 1864, some of the rooms, like the room I'm living in, actually survived the shelling, and it's almost 200 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we sat in our rooms in barracks where the cadets sat before they came here, and we stitched these trousers up in our spare time, like I imagined they would, and I knocked out a little haversack. The things that they would have needed, they would have knocked out.
I imagine they would be mighty proud of you guys for doing
We'd hope so, sir.
We hope so.
That's why we did this march, to honor them.
Well, you messed up your feet there.
Yes, sir.
The wounds will heal. We actually want to do this again next year. I mean, it was miserable every day. We woke up every morning going, nah, not doing this anymore. But at night we were so proud of it, and we want to do it again. It hurt bad. I mean, our knees were ready to give out at any moment. Our feet were just, he was basically dripping blood.
How old are you guys?
I'm 20, sir.
And you are
20.
I'm also 20.
That's the ages, of course, they would have been at the time.
That ranged from 15 to about 26 was the range of the cadets.
That's in the
I
middle.
believe Cadet Jefferson was 15 years old. The average age was, I think, 17.
Oh, okay.
They were a little bit younger then because all the older boys had already gone off to war, and this is where families were sending their sons so they didn't have to go to war.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, look where they wound
They
up.
ended up right here in the middle of it.
That's right.
Came to them. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for this.
Oh,
Thank you, sir.
anytime, and we'll be here all weekend if you come back out.
I sure will, yeah.
And then, of course, watch us on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
We are the color guard for the Corps Cadets.
Sorry.